bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone on Monday night. We're going to wrap it up with the Plainsman Fan Zone like we will every Monday night the rest of the school year. Just a reminder, Monday nights are LISD nights, so it will be Coronado, Estacado, Lubbock High, and Monterey in that order every Monday night. Monterey always hits cleanup. Means you guys get a few extra minutes, all right? Part of that's because Coach is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if she knows that we wanted to make sure we give her a few minutes when we can, so I like to make her blush every once in a while. Thanks for coming in. Jill Schneider, the Hall of Famer I'm mentioning, and Mom's sitting over there. Ari, I'm okay calling you Ari, right?
Yes,
I don't want to get in trouble with any moms or grandmas by using the wrong name. So it's just easy for me to say Ari instead of try to type that out every time.
Yes, sir.
So you guys are, I just mentioned this before the thing started, you guys are back up to number 2, or had you been number 2, Jill?
No, we dropped after we lost to Tascosa. We dropped to 5. Then after we beat Amarillo High, we jumped back to 2. But that took place after Tascosa had lost to Amarillo High, so it all happened within the same week. We were talking about that. That was a fun, and we're going to come up on that in 2 more weeks, where the 3 of you play each other again. We're going to go. I mean, it's going to happen all season long until we get to the playoffs, and then you guys go your separate ways. It really is good timing for us. They're just great competition. They're very difficult to beat. We have to be prepared to play them. So having them backed up against right before the playoffs is, I think, very timely for us.
Well, I told Brent Palmer, who was just in, that's for you 3, that's great. It's for the other teams in your district. Every time I'm trying to figure out who's going to kind of battle for that 4th spot, Lubbock Cooper, Lubbock High, and Plainview, it just works out. They play the 3 teams consecutively. It's like, oh, here we go again. So you guys may enjoy it. I don't know that the teams battling for that 4th spot enjoy it so much.
Well, it's those teams are very, very good also, and on any given night they can beat each other, and they could beat one of us or more than one of us. So I think that it's good for everybody that we have that mix, and it's also interesting to kind of speculate what it's going to be like with Amarillo and Tascosa going a different route.
Yep, because that's pretty clear cut. They're the 2 bigger.
It is right now, at least. The standings in the district look like it's going to definitely be those 2 going out big school. And so we're just waiting to see who it's going to be going out small school. And
something else Brett and I talked about, there's going to be 2 teams in your district that don't get invited to the playoffs that are really good teams.
Yes, and that happens often, but more often when we have these big districts like we did back some years ago when we had Midland High in our district, and they were so good. And we had, at that time, we had Amarillo High, and I believe Tascosa and the Midlands. It was that stretch where Amarillo and Midland had to travel 5 hours to play each other. So every time we have the big district, it's like this.
Ari, you've been through this a couple of times. You've been through it in volleyball and basketball now. Mm-hmm. How much does that fire you up? Because you're a young lady who I enjoy watching you play because you're as low-key and sweet a kid as possible, and then you step across that line and you're a different person.
I mean, I find it really fun just playing against really good competition and being able to show what me and my team can do, and just push ourselves to be the best team that we can possibly be, and show everyone that we're a really good team.
So Coach and I talked about this the other day. Your evolution from sophomore, you were really good as a freshman and sophomore, but watching you now, it's a world difference. And then you're getting coached by a pretty good coach to your left there every day in practice. What has motivated you? What's pushed you to get to where you are now?
Just knowing how far we can get, and just knowing that my team depends on me for some things, and just knowing that I have to fulfill what they're expecting of me and what everyone is expecting of me.
Where does that growth come from, Jill? Because I'm going to bring up a bad memory here, and I'm sorry. One of the saddest things, my photographer got this picture of you against Lubbock Cooper at the regional tournament when you'd gotten hurt the day before, and there's a picture of you watching your team warm up before the game, and that hurt my dad hard because I've got 2 daughters already. So ever since then, though, this young lady has just leaps and bounds in both sports, but this year especially in basketball.
Well, and Ari was huge for us that year, you can speculate of what might have been, but losing her in the regional tournament was devastating to our team. And having her, just seeing the growth that she's made over the last 2 years is absolutely incredible. And a lot of that's because she's motivated. And a lot of that is because she's very coachable. She doesn't resist coaching. She embraces it and is just always, yes, ma'am, okay. And whatever she needs to do, she does to help her team. And I just think that's an evolving process because we've had discussions among our team that she's got to get more touches. We got to have more balance, and we got to have Ari handling the ball a little bit more and doing the things that she does for us, because she's going to get her double-figure rebounds for us, but we got to get her in mid-high double figures per game, and so that's evolving.
Well, it evolved the other day against Lubbock Cooper. He had 20 points. When Coach told me afterwards, she said, we pointed out to the girls that she only got the ball 5 times against Friendship and made 4 shots. Got the ball a few more times against Lubbock Cooper and cashed in a little bit. How good were you that day? I know you guys don't like to talk about yourselves, but how good did it feel to play that way against Lubbock Cooper?
I wouldn't put like all the pressure on me. I would just say me and my team, we talked about it, and they were telling me how they want me to get the ball more, and they see how I'm scoring well around the rim, so they see that I can be a big contributor to like the points and the amount of rebounds and all this stuff if I get more touches on the ball. So I really just have to give like all the thanks to my teammates for letting me be able to get the ball and just do my part.
There was a little bit more meat on the bone to those 20 points because Ambrosia was out.
Yeah,
and that changes you guys as well when Robin's not there for Batman, that affects you too.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know what the 3-part
we
heroines are,
but the other day.
But we've got that third part. They used to call us, the big 2, and we definitely have the big 3. And it's very important to our team that they all just contribute what they're capable of contributing. We don't expect too much of any of them. We just want them to do what they're capable of, because their presence, Ari's presence, is definitely an advantage, a big advantage for our team.
Now, she gets coached well, and she's talented, but being 6'4" doesn't hurt either.
No, she's got that God gave her that coaching can't do. So she's blessed in that regard also.
I always ask Aaliyah if Coach will shoot with her. She says Coach won't shoot. Do you ever get Coach to bang around in the paint with you?
No. Maybe like make Coach Torres maybe, but Coach Snyder, she won't get out there with us.
The only way I'll bang around with him is if I've got the blocking dummy.
Yeah, well,
I'm not doing any of that.
Coach and I are in the same age bracket, so I totally understand what
that's how old people get hurt.
Yes, exactly. You get hurt sneezing sometimes. So we'll talk more about pre-senior. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We'll talk more about that when we come back on the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Keeping you up to date on the Monterey Plainsmen. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the Plainsman Fan Zone on Monday night. We're watching the Weather Channel in the background. I guess it's that time of the year, especially when I don't think we're going to get a lot of snow here. But Jill was just mentioning that when it snows here, things get shut down pretty quickly. And I hope nothing gets affected, because Brent was just talking about this. I'm going to guess you're the same way, Jill. Coaches, maybe not players, but coaches like when you get back into this rhythm of prepare for a game, video, go play the game, come back, heal up. You get used to the kind of the rhythm of things.
I think you do, and I think maybe as coaches we get a little more caught up in that than our players do, especially with the AAU basketball and the way that they're just kind of accustomed to just showing up and playing whenever you have games.
Yep.
And so it probably is more troublesome to us as coaches mentally to stay in that routine than it really is to our players.
Do you like practice as much as coaches?
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Yeah. Even if it's a little bit of a fit, that's a good answer with Coach sitting next to you. Now, I've watched some of you guys practice. I've watched a lot. I've actually watched your volleyball practices, which intrigued me because Coach Lozada puts that McDonald's speaker thing on and gets you guys going. Yes. But you guys obviously know what you're doing by now. We've mentioned the big 3, and we do have to we have to figure out a name for Ari. We have to, if it's Batman and Robin, we have to think of something.
It's got to be a 3-man crew.
Yep. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of your other players, though, here in a minute, because I think your supporting cast has gotten a lot better this year. But you guys do know what you're doing. The 3 of you have been together. I mentioned Breaux, Ambrosia Cole. what she did against Friendship, you guys lost to Friendship in the Caprock Classic Championship game. We'll tear that scab off. But what Ambrosia did coming back and playing, 'cause she got hurt in the first quarter, didn't she? Into the first quarter?
It was.
And had to be all but carried off the court, and came back and was huge in that game in the second half. And I talked to Jill afterwards. That's one of the gutsiest things I've seen from a high school player, because that looked like it could be season-threatening, the way she landed and the pain it looked like she was in. Tell me what you told me afterwards, Jill, about her toughness.
Well, I just thought she showed incredible toughness in that game, because she did come down on somebody's foot. We watched it on video, and she turned that ankle over pretty good, and she was really swollen the next day. But when she came up in the second quarter and came walking back, she just looked at me and said, "I can play." And I went, "Are you sure?" I'm like looking for a trainer to make sure it's just not her telling me that. And she was, "I'm sure." And then the trainer verified, just nodded. And I've questioned Breaux's toughness at times, and I had to apologize to her during a film session that we had and tell her I would never question her toughness again, because she proved to me what she was really made of in terms of her toughness and her willingness to play with some pain.
We mentioned you've played with her for a long time. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that toughness before? Is that something she's grown into more? Breaux's
always had that fire in her that she's always wanted to play, even when she's in any amount of pain. So you can always count on her to if you ever need someone to play through adversity or just be there when you need them, Breaux will always be that player to be there.
She'll also be really fast.
Yeah, very fast.
Because that's before the ankle, after the ankle, and then was it last year when she just showed up late in the track season and ran the 400? And did she win district?
Yeah, she has set a record for it at our school.
And just I'm bored. I'm going to go show up. That's incredible. Of course,
that's something else you can't coach.
Exactly.
That's God's blessing.
We're 16 minutes in. We've not said the name Aaliyah Chavez, which is incredible, because besides those two, by the way, Monterey also has the best player in the country, Aaliyah Chavez, who I've enjoyed watching her. I mentioned this to Coach the other day, something she doesn't get credit for against Lubbock Cooper. She got all the attention like she normally does, especially without Ambrosia. Lubbock Cooper had a good defensive game plan against her early, and instead of forcing things or getting out of her head, Jill, she started looking for other players. She got you guys calmed down and got you because Lubbock Cooper came out just on fire in that game, and she calmed you guys down.
Well, it seems like everybody comes out on fire against us. We've gotten pretty accustomed to that, so I'm ready for us to be the ones coming out on fire and kind of battling that. But Aaliyah's got that ability. Not only is she a great player, but she can make the players around her better, and she can find people that I don't know. Some of her passes just amaze me. But she's very good at incorporating people when she knows that it's necessary.
And I teased it. We're going to come back. We're coming up on a break. We're going to talk more about some of the other players in Monterey that are making this thing click. You guys are 24-4. Does that sound right? I just looked at make sure that TABC's got it right. I trust them. 24-4. It takes more than three good players to be 24-4. So we're going to talk about some of the, I don't even want to say supporting cast, but we'll be back after the break on 100.7 The Score on the Plainsman Fan Zone.
The Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Game on, Plainsman.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score on a Monday night. First Monday night in January. We'll be here all basketball season and then into softball, baseball, track, soccer. I'm trying to make sure I don't want to leave anybody out. Wrestling, swimming, all the stuff. We'll talk to all kinds of different coaches, but this is a big basketball week because, as we've touched on a couple of times, we get into a routine. I think everybody starts district at some point that you guys are halfway through. Estacado and Liberty have played. They'll play their second game. It's just a weird dynamic. It hadn't been that long ago. You were in this big district 5 years ago?
Well, I think it was we were in the big district when my girls played.
Okay.
And so that was, they graduated in 10 and 12,
okay.
2010, 2012. And then I believe at that point we were in 6A and Coronado was in 5A still, so we were split like that. But I think it's been since then. We may have been in a big district once since then, but I think it's pretty much been 5A 6 and 7 teams because we ventured down to Abilene and
Yes.
and then had this district here. Just you're taxing my memory here, but as near as I can remember.
When you saw when realignment came out a few years ago, and you kind of. I remember talking to Mike Meeks, and there was, at least in football, there was a possibility it could wind up being some El Paso schools in district, which would have been really weird. But you knew that this was a possibility when they started. When you looked at it, Joe, you've been coaching a few years, and you saw, okay, Amarillo High, Tascosa's coming, Lubbock Cooper's been there, we've been there. Was that kind of invigorating to think, okay, this is going to be fun from early December through the end of February? I'm going to have to eat my Wheaties every night.
I know, exactly. And, you're kind of cutting a little bit of that off because back in the big district we were in, when we had the 10-team district, we started the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And when did we start this year? Didn't we start
probably about
Tuesday before Thanksgiving, maybe? Or so we starting, well into November. And I remember when we were in the 6A district, we lost every game. We were last place. And we realigned, and we were in the 5A district the next year, and we went 8-0. And so Kelsey Canavan was my assistant coach at that point, and she said we needed to get a T-shirt that said worst to first.
There you go.
And so then we went from the 5A smaller district to the 5A big district, and it has very much the same dynamics. But fortunately, every time we've been in a big district, we've had a really good team.
And Ari, you got a taste of this in volleyball because that volleyball district was the exact same thing.
It was hard, yeah.
And how much did that help you coming into basketball to understand that, I got to be ready to play every Tuesday, every Friday in this?
Yeah, just knowing as we got more into district, the teams got harder and they got stronger. So we just know we had to be prepared and be more ready than we were in the past because we didn't have to play these teams that were bigger, taller, and more strong than we were. So we had to get more prepared.
Not too many teams in basketball that now. Amarillo, I don't want to make anybody in Amarillo or Tascosa mad. They're very good teams, but you guys are the hunted.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. We were talking between breaks. Every game that you guys step on the court, there's a lot of people on the other side rooting against the Columbia Blue and Red. I've gotten to know Coach a little bit. She's got a competitive streak in her. Do you like that you guys you're the team that everybody has that target on that they want to knock off?
Yeah, of course. I love that everyone is out to get us basically, and it just gives us more adrenaline to push and be better because everyone is out to be oh yeah, Monterey, we can beat them, but we just want to show everyone that we're the best team and that we're going to always end up on top.
And you bring a little bit of fire with you. Aaliyah's an emotional kid, and she at times, but she's got a lot of even keel to her. Ambrosia, I don't know. I don't see a lot of reaction out of Ambrosia.
You have to get her going for Breaux to be show all her emotion and talking mess, and you have to get her going for Breaux to be doing all that.
Yeah, you can watch her hit a falling down and one.
Yeah,
she'll hop up and show a little emotion and flex a little bit.
But you bring the fire. I talked to Kaya Buchanan earlier today, and I was just teasing her. I said, "Did you and Ari exchange Christmas cards or anything? Because y'all got there was a little bit of feistiness."
Yeah.
But everybody needs that to bring. Is that a natural thing, or is that something you have to kind of talk yourself into?
I think it's something that I've kind of grew into because I would say my freshman year and me growing up, I wasn't just the kid that would talk a lot of mess. I will be always the one that's sitting on the sideline, not saying anything. But as I've gotten to high school and stuff, I feel that's changed a lot.
But to be fair, you don't talk, you react.
Yeah.
And I think there's a line you have to. At the Tascosa game, one of their big girls got a little. She wanted to know what flavor gum you were chewing, and you reacted. So we're going to leave that there. We're going to wrap it up on the Plainsman Fan Zone. We'll be back Wednesday night with Friendship, Lubbock, Cooper, and Liberty. This is Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.